Ah, Captain, I'm glad you're back. The analysis reads as follows. Subject, quasi-space portal spawner. Data, device is a hybrid of different alien technologies including Arilu and Ur-Quan elements. Our tests show that this device temporarily creates a weakness in the fabric between hyperspace and a different unidentified dimension. The energy cost for this process is extreme, and since the unit's power supply is self-contained, we cannot estimate how long it will remain functional. Summary: use of this device will permit a starship to make transit to a different dimension. The hazards and benefits of this process are impossible to gauge without field study. The next entry in the analysis is subject, talking pet life form. Data: this creature is physiologically identical to the so-called Erquan talking pet with one notable exception. It is highly intelligent and evidences strong psychic capabilities. Initial AIQR tests rated it well above human super genius, though immediately after we made this shocking assessment, its scores dropped to the normal-subnormal range. Interviews with the subject have shown it to be cooperative, though a Class 4 pan-species psychological profile places the creature far into the furtive, hateful domain. There were also some disturbing incidences where we talked about roses, daisies, and other pretty flowers. Summary: everything's okay, nothing to worry about with this cuddly little guy. Not one thing. The next entry in the analysis is subject, Utwood bomb device. Data: analysis has yielded little information about this device, largely because of our technicians' unwillingness to open it or even remove the bomb from your ship. That aside, here's what we know so far. The device is correctly defined as a bomb, one of enormous destructive potential, but it's not of Utwig origin. Nothing about it relates to the technology we see in the Jugger ship. We believe it to be of late Precursor origin, though it somewhat resembles certain Chenjesu technology. Its original function? Probably a planeteering tool for dispersing unwanted moons. Summary: unless there's a strong reason to do otherwise, do not activate this device. Leave it alone. Any experimentation should be conducted at least 12 astronomical units from this starbase, and preferably a bit further. The next entry in the analysis is subject, Sun device. Data: the unit contains a power generator whose output magnitude is simply mind-croggling. When activated, the device radiates energy equivalent to less than 1/100th of 1% of our sun. However, when placed close to a planet, perhaps in orbit, its output would rival Sol's. Summary: another precursor tool, the energy output of which can replace or augment a sun's radiance. The next entry in the analysis is subject, Rosie Sphere device. Data: the specimen is 5 centimeters in diameter, perfectly smooth and composed of a blood-red translucent substance. Tests show that it has atypical ferromagnetic properties, but is utterly non-conductive. Summary: probably a precursor tool. Function: unknown. The next entry in the analysis is subject, Aqua Helix device. Data: this device is composed of a light blue super-hard substance which rates Mohs 13. The object is composed of a flat ribbon of homogeneous material approximately 1 meter in length, and it is twisted in a perfect helix. Focused ion and nucleomagnetic scans reveal little about its interior. Summary: unknown design, unknown origin, unknown function. The next entry in the analysis is subject, clear spindle device. Data: the object in question has no clear use or means of activation, but does have superconductive characteristics between 18 and 22 degrees centigrade. We suspect that it is a precursor manufacturer, but we cannot be certain without extended study. Summary: in all likelihood, this object is part of a larger device whose capabilities remain unknown. The next entry in the analysis is subject, Ultron device. We put this thing through every test we've got and came up with the same results as if we used a fork. Nothing, zero, zip. If this thing ever functioned, which we doubt, it certainly won't now. Age and physical stress have long since robbed it of whatever mystical powers it might have once had. Summary: in the future, please don't waste our valuable time on junk like this so-called Ultron. The next entry in the analysis is subject, Choxfix Maidens. Data: Subjects appear to be 16 Choxfix females, all in young adulthood. Subjects appear to be in good condition, with little or no freezer burn or other degeneration. Hibernation maintenance units are functioning normally, and resuscitation equipment is easily activated. Summary: we can wake them, but why? What should we tell them? That they're an extinct species? Until such a time as we feel we can induce artificial parthenogenesis or otherwise give the Choxfix sexual viability, our recommendation is to keep them as they are, asleep. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Hyperwave Broadcaster, design. Data: this unit is capable of generating extremely intense hyperwave transmissions, though it is otherwise similar to our own casters. Summary: this thing would be great for practical jokes. She could scream boo from an orc cloud to scare the pants or whatever off of everyone in the system. If you used it in hyperspace, there's no telling who might hear you and come running. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Hyperwave Broadcaster, unknown design. Data: this technology is new to us, but though a bit primitive by Alliance standards, is capable of generating a very strong signal. Summary: should you wish to call someone in hyperspace or send a message through a mile of steel, this baby will do just fine. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Tao Device. Data: whoever the Tao were, they were clever, way past us, probably even beyond the Chenjesu. As far as I can tell, with all our equipment, this thing is a rock. Just a rock. Nothing but a rock. However, if you feed a current into it, anywhere along its surface, everyone on board this starbase who has Esper potential gets a bad headache. Well, we checked a bit more into that, and when the Tao thing is active, all evidence of Psychon interaction is flatlined. Nothing gets through. Summary: if you keep this Tao rock device thing on board your vessel, I'll bet you're immune to any form of psychic attack, or at least mostly immune. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Micon Egg Case. Data: we really didn't know Micon came from eggs, but our analysis of this sheath shows that it's been subjected to phenomenal temperatures and pressures. The most unusual aspect of the egg case is its size. We know Micon's range in height from 0.5 to 3.5 meters, but our reconstruction of the whole egg case shows it to be over 25 meters high. Summary: if a Micon came out of this, he's gotta be really big. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Sirene Pilot Shuttle. Data: as yet the field research team has failed to report back to their group leaders. When we called them, they described being deep in study and wished to attend to a few important details before returning to the base. Summary: several group leaders have volunteered to assist the team to help them where they can. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Hostile Alien Creature. Data:
this is newly promoted junior scientist Hawkins reporting. Dr. Chu, he's the leader of the section. He's still in sick bay. He's been there ever since that thing took a swipe at him and he got too close to the cage. I guess it's got like triple jointed arms or something with spikes and razor plates all over. The data? Oh yeah, right. The subject is a xenoteratomorph, a big honkin' one I might add. It eats everything: plants, animal tissue, wood, ceramics, plastic, asbestos fibers, several types of metal chairs, a desk, and about half of everything a security officer wears. What it doesn't eat, it chews. And what it doesn't chew, well, it breaks up into tiny little pieces. What? Summary? Oh yeah, summary. The sooner you get that thing off the starbase, the less likely it is that thing will get loose and kill us all. I guess that's it.
The next entry in the analysis is Subject Slilandro Probe Destruct Code Sequence. Data: this is a complex sequence of program instructions using an encryption sequence similar in some ways to the rolling Fung algorithm. Summary: when a Slilandro probe approaches, open a hailing frequency, wait for a response, and then transmit the code. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Erquan Warp Pod. Data: this unit appears to be the core for the starboard warp pod of an Ur-Quan dreadnought. It is surprisingly similar to our own warp cores, but it generates a much stronger, tighter field than the equipment we have on our cruisers. Summary: for us, the warp pod is little more than a curiosity, though you may find some useful application for it in the future. The next entry in the analysis is Subject Wimble's Trident Device. Data: I presume this device is named Wimble's Trident because of the name Wimble, crudely etched into its base. Summary: To be honest, Captain, I believe the Drooge robbed you blind. The next entry in the analysis is subject, glowing rod device. Data, we had high hopes for this device, Captain, because of the constant pulsing aura it generated. However, I'm afraid after investigating the object and locating its concealed battery slot, we had to conclude that this was nothing more than a well-crafted toy. Summary? In the future, Captain, I would be very careful of what I bought from the Drooge. That's the end of our scientist's report. Try to avoid getting gruesomely killed, Captain. It's good to see you again, Captain. The analysis reads as follows. Subject, Ultron device. Data, first we thought this was a piece of junk. In fact, it may still be just that, but when you submitted it to us, we infused it with gamma radiation and found that the scatter signature was identical to the patterns recorded from the empties, the singing hoops, and the big dud, which were all found in precursor burrows on Procyon. Summary. We are now convinced that this is a precursor tool, but it remains dysfunctional. That's the end of our scientist's report. Return soon, Captain. The analysis reads as follows. Subject, Ultron device. Data, the Ultron is partially functional and we can detect energy emission from the device. We suspect that the unit requires additional minor repairs before achieving full functionality, and at this time we cannot make an assessment of its capabilities. Summary, a single additional replacement part should bring the Ultron to life. That's the end of our scientist's report. The analysis reads as follows. Subject, Ultron. Data, we have determined that the so-called Ultron is in fact the appendages of Dawn, described in the precursor fragment found on Rigel in 2123. In the partially translated precursor text, the device is described as a mental amplifier which focuses mental energies of the holder for the purpose of discrete change. Unfortunately, human brain emanations do not seem compatible with the Ultron, nor do those of the allied species we have tested. Summary? Perhaps the Utwig who claim to understand this device can shed some light on its true function and power. That's the end of our scientist's report. Blow up an Ur-Quan for me, Captain.